So from the sublime to the ridiculous. So, I lived in Japan for several years, and I fell in love with haiku as a poetic format. So if you don't know anything about haiku, it is 575 in terms of syllables, and usually it's the last line that's the giveaway and the kicker. All right? And this is what I call a series of dirty haikus. They are not about cherry blossom trees, and they're not about snow on roofs. They're basically deconstructed dick jokes. So remember, it's 5 syllable, 7 syllable, 5 syllable. Fit Tesco worker with Nando's cockerel tattoo. Spicy in bedroom. Thanks. This one's about the bin. Which bin? Green or black? We all wait for that neighbour. The binfluencer. This next two is about my ex-partner. His breath smells like beer. It makes me fully aroused. Fucking Gaylord. This was about my ex's favourite chocolate. Not me, clearly, obviously. He wouldn't be the ex otherwise. Box of toffees. Always remind me of you. Eat a bag of dicks. This one is about time I thought I'd slept with a celebrity. Jason Donovan. I thought I slept with you once. My bad. Deja vu. I walked past him in town. We crossed paths and I was like, I've slept with him. I've slept with him. Turned around and was like, oh, no, you're Jason Donovan. He heard. Okay, this one, it can't just be me. It can't just be me. The Tupperware choice matters. Shape of soup is round. If you have soup in a square Tupperware, does anyone else here feel really weird and uncomfortable about it? Shape of soup is round, right? Yeah. I'm going to set up a crowdfunder for this. Last few. If you discover he has a Pinterest account, Pinterested in men. That's a little thinking. White middle-class kid. Roadman slang is not for you. Go suck your mum, yeah? We need to bring back that statement, that phrase. Grinder for Asians. You know there's an app for that. It is called Uber. Alright, moving swiftly on. Wow, that's a dangerous game. That's a dangerous haiku in the centre of Bradford. Oof, no. Alright. Autocorrect, this is a true story. Autocorrect fail. Couscous is anus. Do proofread text to mum. She sent a random message going, what would you like for your tea? This random visit that you're going to make. I was like, oh, really quickly, in the middle of work, just something light, salad, couscous. I got to her house, she basically showed me her phone and went, there are some things mothers should not know about their sons. What I'd written was, just something light to eat, like anus. Because couscous auto-corrected. Yeah, not a great conversation. My neighbour's white dog only ever barks at me. Horrible racist. Okay, last two. You can't get pregnant shagging on a sofa bed. Use pull-out method. Alright, I like that one more than you do. Alright. Once dated a guy. Sounds like owl at climax. Who does that? Last and final one. If you're Indian, but non-gender specific, non-biryani. See what I did there? See what I... Thank you.
Red wine, of course, sir. I handed over 2 miniature bottles, clicked the brake, lowered my eyes as I retreated from the cabin. It was exhilarating to break the routine, to be allowed to leave rows of passengers high and dry without a drink or a paper menu. The purser appeared, then told us to prepare for an emergency briefing. We gathered round and she reported the captain had informed her there was a crack in the wing. We were to divert to the nearest landmass, Greenland. It took a while to sink in. Could we land safely with a damaged wing? I guessed we probably couldn't. As I stowed the canisters and the trolleys, making sure none would shoot out and whack my head, I went through the emergency evacuation drill, then thought how stupid I'd been to give up smoking. If I was going to die in the next few hours, why had I bothered trying to be healthy, slimmer, less outrageous? I wondered how many complimentary peanuts I'd handed out, how many hot towels, how many exits I'd encouraged the familiarisation of. I wondered what they would say at my funeral, and how people who really knew me would lament I had so much more life to come, and how I hadn't yet fully arrived at what I was good at. What a fool I was to believe I could prolong my life when my imminent demise must have been written in the stars. I thought of Mum back home, with her firm belief in fate, but not this kind of fate, blind to the fact her daughter would soon perish. I wish I'd told her I loved her, but she didn't like these words. She believed it was shown through action, all the many packed lunches she'd made, the cups of tea, the endless cakes and tucking into bed. I wanted words from her mouth, soap opera style, as if it would underscore it and set it in stone. I should have said them anyway, forced them at her in a text via satellite. Everything was silent, apart from the low murmur of the engines. The passengers had been warned there was a technical fault with the plane. From where I was sitting, I couldn't see any faces, but I could sense the collective stillness, quiet, like a praying congregation. I expected panic, screaming, clambering over one another like the scene with the singing nun in Airplane. It was then that the purser's interphone rang. She took the call, stood, then came over close. "It's all okay," she said. "We can carry on with the service. It's not serious. You can go up to the flight deck and see the window if you like." "The window?" "Yes, the splintered window on the flight deck, in front of the first officer. There's 8 layers to the glass, so it's quite safe to carry on to JFK. "Oh," I said, "I thought you said The purser waited for me to finish, but I kept the G in my mouth. To admit it would mean I would have to say so much more about how things were getting out of control. "Of course, the window," I said. I had misheard. It was not the first time, but the consultant had confirmed me my hearing was fine. Afterwards, he'd asked whether I was happy, which was a strange question for an ear doctor. He said, "We don't hear sometimes if we're disengaged, and this can present as hearing loss." By the flight deck door, I rubbed the goosebumps on my arm, and in the middle of the night, the flight always turned cold. Then I knocked 3 times and faced the spy hole so they would know I was crew. Beneath this uniform was my body, the body I was born with, which had housed me for all these years. Thumping conduits of blood and electricity were keeping me alive. Somewhere within all this skin was something called me, but I wasn't sure what this was. It took a while to sink in. Could we land safely with a damaged wing? I guessed we probably couldn't. As I stowed the canisters and the trolleys, making sure none would shoot out and whack my head, I went through the emergency evacuation drill, then thought how stupid I'd been to give up smoking. If I was going to die in the next few hours, why had I bothered trying to be healthy, slimmer, less outrageous?
I was asked to write this for a magazine called Attitude magazine. In 2020, they have every year this body issue where everything in the magazine's about the body. So I had a bit of space, 500 words, to write something about my body, and I wanted to show it praise. And I think it's important for us to kind of like, reflect on, what our bodies have done for us, what they've been through, and sometimes the kind of traumas that they hold, even when they're like celebrating, you're dancing, you're around friends, you feel safe, but there's still things under the skin, under the surface. So this kind of reflects on that. An ode to my black queer body. You've fought and you've run away. You've danced with other black queer bodies until sunrise. You've stumbled into saunas and been touched by hands with faces you don't remember. You've grown an afro that strangers touch without permission. You've grown dreadlocks and received special greetings from Rastafarians. When you grew your beard, strangers regarded you with even greater suspicion. You were asked if you were a Muslim, and a colleague told you that you looked like a terrorist. You let a man masturbate you in the water as your family sunbathed on the beach unawares. You've done so much in secret, in parks and graveyards, in parked cars and moving trains, in toilets, in stairwells and garages. Sometimes you wanted to be caught, sometimes you wanted to be held. You've had many sexually transmitted infections. You've taken PEP and PrEP so that you wouldn't get the one that many fear. You've been afraid of so many things, but mostly your own mind. Sometimes you think of stepping into traffic or jumping off a bridge. You've taken drugs for fun and to feel numb. You've been sober. You've been vegan and not vegan and vegan again. You've meditated for many hours, sometimes for 10 minutes a day, and sometimes for 10 days at a time on a silent retreat. You've retreated from your life in many ways. Sometimes depression has kept you from the world, sometimes grief. You've kissed your grandfather's head after he was dead. You've held your nieces up to the sky to make them fly. You've given yourself wings. You've created an alter ego with a wig and heels. You've painted your face and nails. You've painted the walls of the home you live in with your boyfriend. You've looked at him with lust and with envy. In recent years, your waist size has gone up, your hairline has gone back, and there are grey hairs in your beard. Your boyfriend looks at you like you are so sexy, but you know you are so much more. With all that you've endured, you are nothing less than miraculous.
My mother is sitting above me, and although she gave me life, she is dead, and yet so alive. The moon is at my feet, and I have my secrets rolled like a wand in my hands. My dress is blue like the sea, but it is choking me, and the sea is drowning me. I'm seated on a throne like a punished prince. My sins flash on the pillars of my beach. Carrying my mother's corpse and spirit with all the phases of the moon at my service, I am indeed a queen. Dirty moon. It is the small things, I get wet when I look at these sculptures. The fact that you know all the signs and symbols, a lily on an ancient Persian soldier made of stone with eyes like yours. But on that day, nothing is as radiant as your eyes. 2 emerald moons consuming me. And as if this isn't enough, you make me photograph your marble thighs in glittering daylight. And then comes the thrilling disruption. You slurp your squid and gaze at me, stating, "You're so spoiled, I want to suck you off." I too want to lick you, but we're exiles, all wrong times, tongues, breasts, and traumas, all nostalgia and betrayal. The heat is as unforgiving as our country, and your obsession with analysis hurts my instincts, but your philosophy is both ironic and iconic, and our dirty talk feels spiritual in our mother tongue. When we kiss, we are his, and it's even better than my mirror dreams. Our bodies liquefy, swell, and heat up as they become an exploding sun, and it feels like the end of times. Your skin emits a certain wet heat that's melting my insides and out. The moon is bursting full, and we gasp hard as the moonlight enters our cunts.
Thank you.